Hey everyone, it's Eddie from Eddie J on crypto. Wanted to get started with today. Gonna start looking at a few things. I set up a portfolio, a dumb portfolio, so we can kind of watch how everything plays out over the future. No, it's not my real portfolio, but it's something for us to be able to track together as we move forward, right? In that portfolio, we've got a couple of different things going on. We've got a couple of metaverse plays. We've got a couple of, or we're going to have a couple of metaverse plays. Actually, we do. We have two, I believe, UFO and Gala. But anyway, we also have a couple of layer ones, a layer two in there. Um, Kind of just want to see how everything plays out with, kind of ideas, hunches that I have. We're going to go over a couple of charts, a little bit of news that I saw that might affect what's going forward, and hopefully get the juices going. So let's um, let's move on over and get started. All right. So right here, I'm looking at Live Coin Watch. Um, so as you can see, this is the portfolio that we've got right here. We've got SHIB because it's a long shot. They're not really doing anything right now. As you can see, they've been red for a while. But previous to this, they were green. But right now, we're not. I'm not really stressed about it. I think that SHIB, is one of those things where they're going to wind up coming out with something. They're going to have I believe they're going to have an NFT marketplace. They've got a DeFi game that they're working on. So I think over time we're going to see that particular project actually do something. So that one, like I said, it's a very long shot. I can afford to sit there and let it play, right? Next one is Matic. Matic is ridiculous. The reason why I say Matic is ridiculous is because they are the connective tissue, right? They are a layer two that's turning into a layer one. Pretty much, they really are a layer one. Um, but they're providing services. So you've got places like Decentraland or metaverse plays like Decentraland. Their coin is Mana, MANA, and Decentraland is currently on Ethereum, and they've been hit with just really slow, sluggish gameplay. Why? Because they're running on Ethereum and they're looking to move over to Polygon. That's a huge thing. If they can move over to Polygon, they pick up speed, and that also brings some street cred, additional street cred over to Polygon. Currently, they're using Polygon as their layer two to kind of help scale their Ethereum play, but they're looking to move over fully to Polygon. So I think Polygon is a really good long play, and I would just want to continue building on that particular one. Bitcoin, kind of just want to have Bitcoin because it's not a bad thing to have. As you can see, their current price is about 42,000, so not a big deal. We kind of seem to be just moving sideways with a lot of these. Bitcoin, Ethereum, they're just kind of moving sideways. We have some upward availability for crypto.com, meaning they're high. If I look at it properly, oh, I don't have it on the screen. What is it up here? Yeah, so their high, I think, is 56 cents. Actually, we can just click on it and go. My bad. Their all-time high is 95 cents. So right now they're at 44 cents. I can afford to buy that and wait. Because imagine if you're in at 44, you have an opportunity to double. And do you really think a place like crypto.com, who's going up against Coinbase, as a well-known exchange, do you really think that they're going to only be a dollar, or that CRO is only going to be a dollar? I think that coin is going to start to skyrocket and go up, but it'll take time. Which for me, not a problem. I'm in some of these things for the long haul, and a couple of these things for the short haul. Think about it. I'm in layer one with Ethereum and Bitcoin. Those are two layer ones, and big boys of the game, the biggest boys of the game, gals, boys. Um, and the issue right there is, well, they're not going to give you exponential growth. They're going to give you great percentages. Maybe next year they hit 100,000, but great. If they hit 100,000, you're just over doubling your money. That's not a bad thing. But if you look at, let me go back. If you look at something like crypto.com, they have a lot of headroom to go in terms of growth. So instead of just doubling, right now you're looking at doubling, but that only gets you to less than a dollar. At 44 cents, you're at 88 cents, and you haven't even hit the high. for them to double. So that's something that I'm paying attention to. Cardano right now is, I think they're on sale. I think Cardano sometime this year they're going to come out with something and it's just going to pop. So that to me is a good buy. Do I want to get in there again right now? No, I mean, I do, but I probably do crypto.com first and then go to ADA. My super duper long shot is Saitama Inu, and I think I mentioned this before because they've got their own version of MetaMask called Saitamask, and they have a few things going on. So I think over time they're also going to do things to shave off. Look at that, shave off some of those zeros. They shave off one or two zeros. You're talking about 10, 100 times your money. So that's kind of good news. I don't know, a little bit, but that's a seriously long shot. And as you can see, I put into this portfolio that we happen to call the journey because that's what we're doing here. Um, this particular one, I only put a couple of $100 in it, right? And the reason why is because it's a long shot, and for a couple of $100, I can get almost 4 billion coin. 4 billion coins. So if it does moderately well, I'm sitting in the money, right? And it's fairly new, not going to budge that much. You say fairly new because it's less than a year. This column is a 1 year view, and it's less than a year. So, all coins started off with almost no history, and then they just kind of grew up. If they do moderately well, you could be looking at some good coin there. But again, that is a seriously long shot. It is a real project. It's not one of those rug pulls where these guys are actually, well, sorry, this team is actually putting in a lot of work to make sure that they can demonstrate that they are a real project, a viable project, and have utility that they can offer the public. Gala is another one that I like. So I said, you know what? Let's put in 500 shares. I think that's going to go someplace. You get in at 30 cents, and Gala's all-time high is 83 cents. I don't know. That's almost 3 times your money at this point if you were to get in. So that's nuts. If you can buy in at the 30 cent point. It could be a problem for some people. If you're in New York or Texas, I don't think you can get Gala, but if you're in, let's say, Florida or some other state, you can. So imagine getting in at 30 cents and they spike back up to 83 cents. Still below a dollar, but they're a gaming platform. So yeah, I think that's one of the metaverse plays that I have. So I think they're going to do well. If you look at Matic, not a direct metaverse play, but a lot of the metaverse projects are on there. They've got a lot of, they got some DeFi apps. They've got metaverse plays on there. So Polygon, like I said, is connective tissue. So that's something I play with. Gala, definitely a metaverse play. Ethereum, indirectly, because these metaverses are running on ERC. A lot of them are running on ERC20, which is basically Ethereum gas. So, they're indirectly involved with metaverse, but really it's a layer one, and that's how we're going to look at it. Algorand, oldie but a goodie. I think there's some upward, potential there. So we're going to let her rip, right? But let's get to the news because there's a lot of stuff going on. So apparently PayPal tried to get in with some code, and somebody found it, and basically there you go. Here's PayPal coin. So it's supposed to be a stable coin. When it's going to launch, no idea. Does that mean there's going to be an upside to PayPal as a stock? And then you can go in and you can get this coin. The other question is, well, are you going to be able to do staking with PayPal? Because imagine how big that would be if PayPal did staking. Kind of interesting. Um, there's an investigation with these are some of the things that I look out for with regard to rug pulls, right? So here's a perfect example of a rug pull. Fake games, or games that were originally there, functionality wasn't quite there, and then all of a sudden functionality just went off the cliff. Well, $100 million later, and they stiffed a whole bunch of people in Pakistan. So that's what they're looking in for, or looking into. So something that you should pay attention to is, again, and I'll keep driving this forward, is what is the actual utility of what you're purchasing. So when I purchase, I'm taking a look at, Is there some kind of a usefulness for this particular coin or DApp or DeFi or whatever it is? Is it useful? And do I personally see potential for that particular project to move forward? For this one, there seemed to be a lot of telltale signs. Um, Functionality of the game wasn't there. You have to have the right coin to get into the game. That was your first clue. So there are things that I look at right there that kind of make me scratch my head. Something else that makes me scratch my head. I've heard a couple of talking heads out there speak about how you can go into DeFi kingdoms and you can find some staking where you can make like 400% on your money. Sound too good to be true? I mean, right now everything is working out fine for some people. They've got money in it. Um, I heard one guy, one talking head, say that he's a crypto head, serious Bitcoin guy, um, but he's saying he put in a significant amount of money and he's making basically the equivalent of somebody's salary in an hourly rate, making their annual salary just in staking. So that's great, but 400%, how long do you think that's going to last? Like, I'm still trying to wrap my head around. I mean, I can understand, you know, anything under 20% in terms of returns, right? For me, I can kind of figure that out. It's working kind of like a bank. But when you talk about 400%, great. I need to understand the risk before I get into it. So I'm still doing research. I'm still listening to a couple of people to see what they have to say, see what their experience is. And at the end of the day, I think there's only one way to go about it, which is to take some money and put it in and see what happens. For me, it's going to have to be truly extra money, like a few $100s, and just put a couple $100, put it in and let me see how it does with my couple of $100. And then if I actually make that money, then I'm going to skim off until I make the equivalent of my initial investment in that space. And the reason why is because I want to decrease my risk as quickly as possible, right? Because I'm really shaky when somebody says, well, if you give me $1, I'll give you back four. Loan sharks don't even collect that kind of money. I'm just so I'm shaky on that. Have to do a lot more research on it. I'm not saying that it is shady. I'm just saying I just need a little bit more research to feel comfortable doing anything like that. Um, Somebody's talking about how Bitcoin. It's always some kind of article where they cross this line and it's called a death cross. Um, when your 50-day moving average moves lower than your 200-day moving average, and they say, well, eventually that's going to happen. Whatever. Great. You know what? This is an example of I try not to pay attention to people that do charting all the time because everybody's got a chart that will spin things in a different way. My approach to how I manage my portfolio is, again, utility, cost, convenience, who else is in the space, what is their project like, who's backing their project, what kind of community do they have around their project. There's all of those tiny little factors that go into it. And then I can worry about the money later because you're gambling just like with stocks. When you do research on stocks, you're looking at the numbers, you're looking at charts, you're looking at the business, and you're looking at this. Only if you're doing, any kind of significant, buy-in on that particular product or stock. Same thing with cryptos. I just want to know what's going on. So, charts are good. I'm not saying charts are bad. Charts are good. I do look at charts, but they don't necessarily drive my buying or my purchasing of a given thing. Um, so those are things that I pay attention to. Here's something that's really interesting with this whole Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index on Look Into Bitcoin. Great charts here. Definitely advise going and checking this out. But I saw somebody looking at this chart and I just said, wow, what a telltale sign. What do you see? As soon as I get too far into the fear, I start going up. And there are telltale signs where, okay, I started going up right here and then I started coming back down. But I never got dark with my fear, only a little bit. So that I'm probably going to go back up. Then I'm going to come back down and you can start to see where, once I start getting into that darker green, I'm probably going to sell. And here's why. If you keep seeing, you get into that darker green and boom, you can see it right here, you can see it right here. where you're saying, okay, you know what, it's probably a good time to sell, but it depends, or at least start paying attention. This isn't a dark green, so you start paying attention. Maybe you sold a little bit, took a little bit off the table, but you most likely stayed in. Take a look at the fear index, and it just kept going. And when it hit that darkest green, yep, I can shave off some. For me, I'm gonna shave off at that point, right? That's really what I'm paying attention to. So here you are again, here you are again, and guess what? Look at this. Here you are again. So right now, I think that the spring has a lot of potential energy in it, and I think it's sooner or later it's going to just explode. At least in my opinion. Now, like I said, I'm not a financial analyst. I'm just looking at this for myself. And something that I listen to is the fact that this fear and greed index is about regular people. You have to go to other charts, and I don't have them up right now, but I'll have them up next time or something like that. But you can see what the whales are doing. The whales are buying. Whales are people that own a significant amount of whatever coin there is. Usually, when they're talking about whales, they're talking about Bitcoin. And when you're talking about Bitcoin, it's anybody that has over 1,000 Bitcoin, right? So the whales are buying. You don't necessarily see them buying on the open market. They're buying over the counter or direct, peer to peer. So you don't see those transactions happening out in the public eye. But they're going out there and they're accumulating, accumulating, accumulating. It went down, and we're accumulating. It's going back up, they're accumulating. They're just accumulating and accumulating. And at the same time, that Bitcoin is leaving the exchanges. Exchanges like Coinbase, KuCoin, Kraken, name one. That coin is being taken off the exchanges and being placed in cold storage or staked someplace. That's something to pay attention to, right? So these are the things that I'm paying attention to as I, manipulate my own portfolio. And again, I'm looking at this portfolio as what did I buy, put in some fake purchases and all that good stuff, so we can kind of start to see over time what it is that's going on. Here's a tree chart, shows you what kind of holdings we have and everything else. Now, let's go back and let's take a look at what I think the next steps for the portfolio could be. I really do think at $3,000, yeah, I think some Ethereum should be in there. And the reason why is because Ethereum will shoot up and you can use that Ethereum to go buy other stuff, right? The other thing that I would probably look into, if you're thinking about getting into staking whatever you're holding, you should think about what coin you have to be holding to use in that staking environment. So some use USDT, some use like with Terra, the US. I think it's UST for Terra, um, and you want to know where you're staking. So where you're staking. So you've got USDT. I think Anchor uses that. You can get almost 20% off of that. I think it's 19 point something, 19.59 the last time I looked. If you're doing something within one of the like, what is it, DeFi Kingdoms, you might be able to get in there and find something that's using another coin. I think it's Jewel, but I'm not 100% sure. Again, I still have to do research to figure out what it is. But you have to have that particular coin to stake. And there are other places where you can stake different coin, and you can get anywhere from zero, 0.1% all the way up to 20%, which is my range of reality for me right now. Beyond that, when you start talking 400% return, this kind of return, I start to get very shaky about it. Again, could be very real. A lot of people have been doing it for a while. I just haven't been doing it and haven't met anybody directly that's been doing it. I see people say they're doing it, but I don't know anybody directly that's doing it, so that's going to hold me up. Anyway, back to what I want to buy. I used to really like Polkadot. I think Polkadot's just kind of sitting around. They don't really have that much news to really talk about. So that's not something I want to do. But Solana at 135 bucks, that to me, hmm. I to me, I think that's a buy for Solana. Solana is a great play. That's something I would look at. Again, that's a layer one that I'm looking at where I think I can make money. And I think the percentage on that might be greater than Ethereum, maybe, because they're in the layer one pool, and that percentage might go, excuse me, sorry about that, might be just about the same going across. Excuse me. Should have got some water, but I don't. Um, Doge, not really interested in it right now. It's a nothing. It's a big nothing burger. I only have it favorited because, all right, it's gonna be messed up. I really just want to see if they're gonna go back up into the 20 cent range. Like, it was at 27 cents a while ago. I mean, I don't expect it to hit its high again because it has no utility, but it will fluctuate based on that certain person that talks about it from now and every now and again. So that could actually do something to make that one move. And if you just want to sit around, just take a couple $100, drop it in there, boom. Next time he opens up his mouth, maybe it shoots up again, 5, 10 cents. If it bumps up 5 cents, you've made 33%. I'm not gonna be mad at that. But that's something I'm interested in. Really, definitely thinking about getting into shit a little bit more because I know that this year they're going to have a lot to say, and I would want to be on that boat while they still have four zeros in front of them. Really, really and true. Because like I said, if they shave 1 0, that's 10 times my money. If they shave two zeros, that's 100 times my money. I'm not going to be mad at that either. And I think that they are proving that they have some utility, right? Polygon, we already know how I feel about Polygon, but I think we're actually heavy on Polygon right now, so I can sit on the sidelines with that. My goal, with any holding I have is try to get to 1,000, minimum 1,000, respectively for each coin, whatever that number is. But for something like Matic, I'd want to have 1,000 coin for Matic because I just think it's going to go far, like really, really, really far. It's at $2 now. You see that jump at over 7,000%. I think they've got a really long way to go. Um, I see nothing but upside for a company that's providing connective tissue, that is connective tissue to what the future is going to be, right? So they can scale. So being that they can stay at scale, they have companies that want to be on their platform. On their platform. They're holding a lot of DeFi, a lot of DApps, decentralized applications. They're holding a lot of stuff on their platform. So it makes you stop and go, yeah, I think they're definitely embedded in the future. If there was ever a project that I could say was kind of future proof, I think it's Polygon. I think they would have to make a huge mistake for them to drop off of that kind of review from me. I'm nobody, but that's how I'm looking at how I manage my portfolio. I just love the idea of Matic and what they're doing. Someplace else that I really want to get into, even though the price is in the close to $30, Chainlink. Without a doubt, got to get some Chainlink. So I'll probably add Link into this mock portfolio a little bit. We're really heavy on crypto.com, but again, at 44 cents, how do you go wrong with a coin whose you know current high is 95 cents? You'd be doing better than double, and you're still under $1. I think this is an easy $10 this year, end of this year. I think, and I'm going to call it right now. For me, I think crypto.com is going to be over $10, and the reason why is because they're going to every state in the United States, and they're trying to get certified. So if they can get certified in New York, there are going to be a lot of people that are going to want to be involved in that. They're going to want to do it. Every time you hear a game that's happening over at crypto.com arena, that's more advertising for them. It sounds silly, but that's what they're doing. Another thing that they're doing is, you ever watch CNBC? They're sponsoring a lot of the tickers on CNBC. So they're constantly in your face doing it. So I just think that they're firing on all cylinders, and I think that um, companies like Coinbase, Kraken, I think other companies that have a face here are going to have a hard time competing against them because they're just going to grow. They're a far way off from Coinbase, right? Far, far, far way off. That said, they're doing everything correctly to get their name out there. What you hear right now is not Coinbase. What you're hearing is crypto.com. Coinbase is here and loud because they were first and they're the biggest. Every time you listen to crypto.com, I think it's just going to go up. And like I said, at 44 cents, if I hit $4, I'm at 10 times my money. If I hit $40, I mean, just do the math. So I just think that it's another one of those things where I can do well getting involved with that company. Algorand, I think so. I dependable platform. I think they can actually do things. Good project. Mana. I do not own Mana right now, but it is something that I do want to own. So I'm probably going to add this one to this portfolio because I just want to see it. Sandbox. Now the Sandbox. Here's Decentraland. Here's the Sandbox. Competing metaverses. Great platform. They're doing their thing just like everybody else. Their all-time high is $8 or 8.35. So you're really looking at a little bit more than half, so that you can almost double your money from right here forward. Not a bad call. Not a bad call. I think that's something that you can definitely do. I think that Sandbox is going to grow. They've got a few events coming out, so I think that's a good place to be. And that puts me square right dab in the middle of the whole metaverse, the whole Web 3.0 play, right? With Mana, Sandbox, Gala, those are things that I definitely want to do. I do not have any engine, but I think that's something else that we should pay attention to in terms of managing this particular portfolio. And if you have ideas about what you want to put in the portfolio and why, leave a comment, smash the likes, subscribe, and put it in the comments, and I'll talk about it. I'll look at it and see where it's going. I'll make a list, and we'll hit the ones that actually mean something, right? But an all-time high for engine of 483, I can double my money based on those numbers. I'll do it. Maybe it takes a little while, but so what? I think engine is doing things the right way. I think they're going to move at some point. Their volume has been down, but I think their volume is going to pick up, and I think they're going to pick up. You can see right here they're actually on the upswing. So that's something that I would pay attention to. Something that I also pay attention to based on where I can purchase the coin. I can buy this on Binance, Hit BTC, OKX, Coinbase Pro. I can buy this coin on a lot of different places, and a couple of these places for me are straight up legit. FTX is legit to me. Kraken's legit to me. Coinbase Pro, I've got an account, legit. Binance, when I first started, I used to have an account on Binance. Now I only have an account on Binance US because of that whole they couldn't operate as Binance in this country, so that's what happened. But I have an account at Binance.us, which is funny because I actually don't see Binance.us on here, right? So, oh no, here it is, right here. Because I would be shocked if you could purchase it on Binance and this big of a coin you couldn't get it on Binance.us. But again, it depends on what state you're in. The coin that you're interested in might not be available in your specific state when you're in the United States. But this is a coin I would definitely take a look at. Running on an ERC platform, again, it's another utility token. But let me tell you something. This DApp, this decentralized application, I think they're doing things. They've got it right. They're in the middle of the metaverse doing NFTs. I think that's something that can be built on. So that's something I want to get into. Loopring. Oh, haven't gotten into Loopring because I had a couple of other purchases that I wanted to get into first. But Loopring is definitely on my list. Loopring is also something I touched on previously. They're doing everything correctly. Let's take a look at their chart. Yeah, it came down, down, down. Let's actually look at this. All-time high was $3.80. You're not even at $3 to double your money with this one. Not a problem. I think they have more upside than that. I think they can easily hit $5. Not with no problem, without breaking a sweat. I think sometime this year they can hit that $5 mark. They are on the upswing. I think that when cryptos start to take off again, Loopring is going to be one of the ones that's going to take off. Look at where you can purchase it. Same thing. Where are the places that I'm looking for that are going to make it legit in my head that I can feel okay buying this? Binance, OKX, Coinbase Pro, So these are the places where I'm going, oh, okay, they legit got on these exchanges and you can make some purchases. Great. But Loop Ring, we went over this before, I'm not going to go over it again, but you can go over to Live Coin Watch and do some research. You can hit a couple of places: Live Coin Watch, Cointelegraph, CoinGecko. There are lots of news sites that are out there that can give you news about the coins that you might be interested in, about the space that you're interested in. Maybe you want to do research on Web 3.0 and what that actually means and how it can actually help. Here's an example. Um, I've said this before. I own a business called Rebel Vino. Rebel Vino is a social media platform dedicated to food and beverage. So I'm looking at, how can we accept crypto? And we went out and we bought a whole bunch of domains from Unstoppable Domains. One for Rebel Vino, another one for BC in Sports, another one for Gig Blast. The proper company, Rebel Visions. We went out and we bought a whole bunch of Unstoppable Domains, and that means that I'll be able to accept, or our companies will be able to accept Bitcoin. We've always been able to accept different coins, but now I can just give you one address. You'll be able to go to, rebelvino.crypto, punch that into your wallet, and you'll be able to send us money just by typing that in. How cool is that? Memorable? I can tell you, go to rebelvino.crypto and you can give us this list of coins via that address. Boom, done. That's something that we're looking at. But specifically for Web 3.0, we're about to launch a mall where companies can have their products in there. So think, wines, food products, that kind of stuff. Imagine if we took the wines and we did NFTs off of the, specialized wine labels that are out there, maybe for reservas and things like that. That could actually wind up being a big deal. So that way, when you buy the wine, it comes with an NFT that proves you've got the wine because it's collectible. Wouldn't that be something? So we're looking at different ways that we can play the game, and we've got the tech already. We're just figuring out, well, what's the best avenue for us for that particular thing? Because Web 3.0 for us is just like the web to begin with. Way back in the day, just having a website was, it was nothing. Websites, Then it became you needed a website the same way you needed a business card. Now you need a website more than a business card, and it better be e-commerce. If you're doing anything with products, it better be e-commerce right there on the site. You're not doing e-commerce? Oh, sorry. Next is Web 3.0 with NFTs. You've got browser based and VR based and even AR type of metaverse plays that are starting to happen, that are starting to take off. And it's, do I want to be there or do I not want to be there as a business? Again, going back to that foundational question that I always have, which is, what is the utility? So something that we're talking to a couple of supermarkets is, we can, if you purchase the real estate in a metaverse, we can build a store for you in that metaverse. And as people are just strolling around the metaverse, they can literally go to the store, buy their groceries, and have it delivered. So depending on how much money you're willing to spend, you could do something like that. And somebody would say, oh, well, why would I want to do that? Yeah. Why would I want an e-commerce site when I have a brick and mortar store? Sounds like the same thing. So these are things that we're taking a look at as we explore as a business what Web 3.0 can do for us and everything else. Now you understand from my perspective why we're looking at different plays with different takes on utility, usefulness, and what I think those particular coin are going to do. So anyway, again, this is Eddie from Eddie J on crypto. If you have questions, drop it down. Let me know what kind of questions you have. Let me know what kind of coin you're looking at, what kind of plays you're looking at. If you're a business, ask me questions about what would I do as for a business, the kind of business that I'm in. Would Web 3.0 help me? And maybe I can share some experience and things like that that could help out, and we'll put it in a video. All right. Hope you have a great night.